South Park has been on a ratings rampage, but new data shows that if they go into a nonstop Trump bashing fiesta, they just might lose quite a few of those views. Paramount, unlikely to like that. Can Trey Parker and Matt Stone bring it back? And is that why they're suddenly taking more time to get these episodes out to an audience hungry for Cartman, Butters, and more? Hello, folks, and welcome back. An attitude of gratitude is what we have every single time you decide to spend time with us. What a joy, folks. It's also a joy when you click the like button. Let's dive in. South Park news and beyond right now. All right, folks, out of CNN, South Park sets its own ratings record with Kristi Noem skewering episode. But as we've said before, things may be petering out for South Park as they continue to hit on only one side. Should the conservatives whine, or should they take it in stride? We'll talk about it, as well as the statistics that say maybe people are moving away from South Park. Maybe it's time to go after both areas political. The biting satire of South Park, and by the way, as we read this, you got to know where it comes from. Brian Stelter. If you don't have an opinion about Brian Stelter, go watch about 5 minutes of Brian Stelter, and you'll have an opinion on Brian Stelter. Says the biting satire of South Park continues to gain momentum this summer, according to newly released ratings from Paramount. Yes, Paramount, friends of President Trump. The Ellisons bought it, and, well, that's going well for them, eh? Colbert gone. South Park in. On cable, where the Comedy Central series originated 28 years ago, last Wednesday's South Park was its highest-rated episode since 2018 and biggest share in series history, the channel said. Now, I will push back just a wee bit here and say things are going well for South Park, that's for sure. However, I do think that the left, particularly places like Brian Stelter, they're wanting to pump this up to be a bigger deal than it is. I think South Park is doing phenomenally well in ratings. I think they can maintain that if they do what we've suggested, which is go after all sides like they did in the past. But doing the best since 2018 is really not all that impressive, because South Park has been releasing these mini-series things, these little mini shows and mini movies split apart. So, Culture, you know about this. They haven't been releasing many regular episodes. So this is kind of a fake statistic, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you're limiting your seasons to 10 episodes, there's not a lot there. And again, numbers, do speak volumes. But if you look at the preponderance of the total of the episodes, they really have been pretty equally handing it out. Especially, if you're a Scientologist, you're getting a little extra treatment. But everything else otherwise has been very fair. And I have to say that once Kristi Noem dealt with the latest damage of this last episode, after she poorly handled it initially, she bounced back and took it in stride. And I'm going to tell you right now, if the right is going to take comedy in stride, it makes the other folks look really bad.
Right, and Charlie Kirk, I think, showed the way for them on how to do that. The program's share, as determined by Nielsen, measures how many people with cable had their TV sets on and tuned into Comedy Central. Last Wednesday's episode had a 15.61 share, meaning almost 16% of all available viewers chose South Park, a remarkably high total in a world with hundreds of channels. And really, in those hundreds of channels, like 15 are viable. If you go look at the top cable, shows, the top 20 are like all of Fox News shows. It says overall on both cable and the Paramount Plus streaming service, and this is important, on both cable and Paramount Plus. Last week, the episode, which skewered Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, garnered 6.2 million viewers in its first 3 days of release. Now, that's phenomenal. Nobody's taken away from that. And I'm not going to be one of those individuals who says, oh, boy, they skewered Disney. We love them. Oh, no, they're going after the right. We hate them. No, that's not the way that we play here, and we try to be down the middle. But I will say something is up. And the Hollywood Reporter and everybody else is saying, well, this was scheduled. This is all part of it. And I agree. They took a week off for the anniversary. But I also say this. This is rather rare, wouldn't you declare? South Park is skipping another week amid controversy and record ratings. This is by James Hibbert out of The Hollywood Reporter. Comedy Central is celebrating a South Park day of programming for the show's anniversary instead of airing another season 27 episode. South Park is so on fire right now, it even makes news for not airing an episode. I would say that's silly. It would make news for not airing an episode because it almost never happens. Comedy Central is not airing a new episode of the animated hit series this week, the second time the show has not run a weekly episode, since its season 27 premiere just a few weeks ago. But unlike when the show abruptly skipped its second week of the season, and unlike when the season premiere itself was delayed for 2 weeks, this hiatus has been baked in the schedule for a while. Now, that's what they're saying, and fine enough. They could have changed it, though. They could have said, since we missed 2 of the prior episodes already this season, and we never, ever do that, we'll just keep going. We'll have a big celebration of the anniversary, and we'll have a good time. Guys, here's why I think they chose not to do that. And they could have. They could have kept going with the momentum. They've got momentum. That's what Brian Stelter wants you to believe. That's what he needs you to read. Take a look at Google Trends. Google Trends has all of the searches for South Park. And this is why they've got to be a little bit worried, okay? When South Park debuted late this July, they reached a fever pitch of searches for the show. And that's people searching to get to watch it, okay? Then it dropped precipitously. Had a little bit of a peak for the next episode on the 31st when people said, hey, it's not out here. What's going on? Then it had a little bit of a peak again, but again, only 38% of the first episode, and now we're dropping again. Anybody can see this chart and realize what's going on, that South Park is not holding the momentum in terms of people searching for it as it did in week 1. I don't think that it has to diminish. I don't think it has to drop. I don't think it has to go down. I think South Park can keep the crown easily. In fact, I think it might be the biggest show ever if they'll just go after both sides. We just watched Jimmy Fallon break records, gentlemen. Jimmy Fallon had the best show he basically has ever had. They bring up one other one. It was only because a big event happened before his show. Gotcha. Jimmy Fallon had the biggest show ever just by having Greg Gutfeld show up. So if South Park will just give us one joke at the expense of the other side, and South Park is going to be riding high. Guys, what do you think about it?
Well, I'm going to do something that I'm known to do, much to your chagrin, and push back. Because the reason that South Park had such a grinding growth at the beginning was because they had a significant delay. And they had been spouting off about that delay, very similar to the Colbert guy that, we aren't very fond of. And I think that helped artificially build up the expectation for the first episode. It had given them a lot of free press leading into that first episode. And it makes a lot of sense that they would have, the most searched program, especially after word of mouth hit. After that, you're going to get a small bump because, there's absence. Did it make the heart grow fonder or just make people wonder why it was being delayed? And so on and so forth. I don't know if it's necessarily at this point we can point it at, what the content of the episode is, but perhaps it's just a matter of people were waiting for this one of 10 episodes to come out this season, and it finally did because according to them, or at least according to a couple weeks ago, they had a backlog which they didn't want.
Well, I'll tell you this, guys. The thing that concerns me about South Park, I want them. I'm not angry at them for going after anybody. Have at it. That's what we want out of comedy. Everybody should be fair game. What worries me about South Park is the first episode comes out and everybody watches it. And the reason for that, I think, is because everybody was waiting for South Park to come back in full force on Comedy Central after all the fighting that's been happening behind the scenes with Paramount, etc. Finally, South Park is back with real episodes. And I don't want them to go into an entire season that is based on Trump. Because we're all sick of that. Because every other show is obsessed with it. Every other show has TDS. South Park has there was never a season in the 90s where South Park was all about Bill Clinton. There was never a season all about George W., right? So don't make an entire season be about Trump, because then it looks like you're obsessed. Agree? Disagree? Push back? It's all okay.
I think I agree 100%. I don't want to see an entire season based on one political party attacking one side of the political aisle. But I also have to say that I'm here for the good comedy. And if it's funny, it's funny, and I'll accept it. Look, they made the Panderverse. And after the Panderverse, I'm willing to give them, room to do whatever it is they want to do, because I feel like that was absolutely needed that undressing of Disney and Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy was phenomenal. So yeah, I would love to see even-handed, handling of the political atmosphere. But at the same time, as long as it's funny, I'm okay. Again, I don't have I guess I don't have a big issue with one-sided attacks, as long, again, as we've seen things from South Park in the past where they, again, panderverse. They have gone after, some of the other side. So I'm okay with it. Again, I don't think it's a good idea to do one side of the political aisle the entire season. But if it's funny, it's funny. And I'm willing to, laugh at the jokes.
Absolutely. Wizard, where do you stand on all this?
I miss the old South Park, and not in like, oh, well, the jokes were better or there was a different approach. It was, I miss how television and used to just be one episode for one story, and then they would move along. And that's what made South Park so special early on and for decades, really. But, maybe after Trump's first term in office, South Park started moving into this, the entire season is an overarching story, and it has lost its luster, at least for me. I mean, I used to watch every single episode, and now, I watched the Panderverse because it was related to things we talk about. I didn't even watch any of the other specials. I just don't care anymore. I'm an outlier, I know, but I really do miss the singular episodes that told singular stories.
You like the episodic, not the serialized. Fair?
Yeah.
That's fair.
But they're not afraid to make fun of everyone else, because wasn't it only like a year and a bit ago that they made fun of Markle and what's his face? Like that was
Harry.
Yeah, like that's a pretty big slap against the other side. But those are people from the other side that the other side hates too, for various reasons. But I think that overall, if South Park really wants to just make fun of just the right, who cares? What I would argue is, like, we just need better cartoons in general from everybody. And so, like Derek said, if they're funny, they're funny. Because the nice thing about most of us from the other persuasion, we're not afraid to laugh at ourselves. It's just that, because the thing is, like, if we made the jokes, like if I made the joke about Trump or culture or pro or whoever that they make about Trump, all of us would think it was funny. It's just that because we just know that laugh. Those guys, it's just because those guys are on the left. Yeah, but because the left is making that exact same joke, now all of a sudden it's offensive and we're bothered by it. I think that, like, ultimately when it comes to this kind of stuff, big picture, who cares? And if it really does bother you, get more creative and find and express yourself in a similar way, or empower someone who can, because maybe you do not have the ability to be that kind of funny person, or to be the animator, or to whatever. Maybe you don't have a lot of money, but there is ways that you can support. There are ways that you can build up other creators that can be on that level and take on those people. So if you got the finances to help, do it. If you got the time, the energy, and the motivation, do it. Because maybe you're just going to market, and you're just going to be that person that shares. Because that doesn't cost money most of the time. You can share things for free. So just get creative, think outside the box, and build something else up. But otherwise, like, again, I just said it, but I'll say it again because it's worth saying. If any of us made those same jokes, we would all be laughing. But because it wasn't someone from the right, people aren't.
Well, I don't know about that. What you're looking for is, you're looking for what is the perception of a show. So if it is perceived that a show has gone all in on taking on one side for an entire season, then that's a negative media narrative that affects, how many people are going to show up for it. You want everybody to feel like they're either all in on the joke, or everybody's the butt of the joke, therefore everybody can laugh. So that's what they've got to, and that's the tug of war you've always got to be involved in, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
Slightly different take here.
An attack, right? If it's one-sided, it's only one side, then it starts to feel like an attack versus everybody's being, attacked. Like, if you see a comedian and all he does is just tell one style of joke, then they're going to come out and say this comedian is attacking this side. But if he's even-handedly dishing out, jokes to everybody, then it's like, okay, he's just making jokes about the entire situation, whether it's political, social, or whatever. Okay, we can have fun with this, because he's not just going and leaning in one direction or another, like this. This is funny. Yeah, I laughed when I saw it. I thought it was hilarious. But at the end of the day, if it was,
we probably can't, Derek. I probably can't leave that on the screen long.
Yeah, no. But if it's one-sided and it's all like, okay, we're going to spend this entire season when they've never done this in the past, going at one side of the political aisle, that's going to be a problem. So yeah, I agree with you on that one, Pro. I think they gotta dish out the jokes even-handedly.
But my only real issue is it's just low-hanging fruit. It's lazy, and most of us, I think, would expect more from those guys, because they are super creative and they are pretty well-rounded in terms of what they think is funny. But Lauren, you had this unique thought, this contrarian point of view. Go for it.
Well, kind of. It's contrarian in the sense that I'm not a fan of the show. I've never watched it, so I don't really care. But I do think that it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If you're a person in a position of power, you got to have a sense of humor about yourself, and that means that we should be laughing about it too. If somebody makes a funny joke about my side, I'm going to laugh about it. The real crime here is I don't think they necessarily have to be even-handed. They can have a point of view. The crime is against comedy itself because, from what I understand, they ignored the whole last 4 years. And there was all kinds of easy opportunity for comedy there. If you're ignoring that, you're not a comedian. You're actually committing crimes against funny.
Well, and I'll say this too. Having just watched the King of the Hill reboot, let me tell you, there's some great stuff out there. And South Park, different type of comedy for sure, but they need to be working hard because, boy, oh boy, as people discover more of the King of the Hill season 14, people are singing its praises. I've heard people say that it may be the greatest reboot of all time, and I gotta say, I probably agree with that. It's really, really good. South Park, zing everybody, and everybody will be singing your praise. Good night, game over, drive home safely. Folks, this video is done. But before we all head home, we only ask one thing. Folks, as you get ready to head on out, consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and share your thoughts, for a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Waste not that beautiful personality of yours. And folks, we would say, as you get ready to head out the door, that it has been an honor to spend time with you, an attitude of gratitude each and every time that you elect to join together with us. Breaking bread and breaking entertainment, well, the industry. No, we like entertainment. It's the industry that irks us sometimes. Well, it was a good time. We hope you had a good time. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun. Jump into the water!
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.